Water Hazard going to be the map. Mad Hatters spawning in on the red side, trading T on the blue. We should be able to get in right about now. Here we go. First up, under the red banner, we have the Mad Hatters. Their first ship is the Queen of Crows, a goldfish being piloted by Rhythm Rogue. That is a Hellhound on the front, with Flamethrower on the port side, Banshee on the starboard for a little extra fire. They're also bringing the Carrot Face Roll. Pyramidion being piloted by Princess Tutu. Carronade Artemis on the front, with Flamethrower and Flare on the port side.
And on the blue team, the trading T, you're going to have to bear with that lawnmower noise, but we have the Armor Freaking Geddon, a Mobula piloted by Mean Machine. It has a from left to right an Artemis, a Banshee, a Center Hades, a Light Flak, and another Artemis, kind of a mid-range Mobula.
Yep.
And their ally, a Galleon, in fact, perhaps inspired by the Praetorians last weekend on this map. But it is the Decorum.
That was a really good match.
Piloted by Mitza Wildcard. They have the left side Hades, Lumberjack, Heavy Flak, right side Heavy Carronade Watcher with a rear flare gun. Your very, very standard, long, close range split Galleon.
Armor Freaking getting a little bit farther out. Galleon getting their guns into arc. Carrot Face Roll going straight for the Mobula, though. No question. Usually the Carrot's considered a counter to the Galleon, but it's also a decently strong counter to the Mobula, and the Armor Freaking Gettin's going to drop right into the arms of the Queen of Crows, but it's going to ignore it. It's going to let the Armor Freaking Gettin go, and they're going to go straight for the Galleon. They want to take this thing out of the fight. When a Galleon is taken out of the fight, it's out for a long time, but it is very quickly turning its close-range guns into arc. Are they going to get disabled? Watch us down. They don't do very much with it at all, but that Hellhound is still ready. But the Carrot going to stay right where it wants to, with the balloon right in front of it.
Yeah, but Armor Freaking Geddins, they're now bringing their long-range weaponry into effect, putting some fire on the Carrot Face Roll, actually forcing the Queen of Crows to peel off and take them down. So actually, blue team has a moment here where they could potentially kill the Red Pyramidion.
Still, though, Armor Freaking Geddin not going to be able to get much done with the Queen of Crows right behind him. This is one of the cardinal rules of piloting a Mobula. You never let a Blenderfish get behind you. Decorum going to be able to throw Watch into the Carrot Face Roll, but they can't disable the front guns. Queen of Crows, in the meantime, brings down the Armor Freaking Geddin, and the Decorum is dropping right down into their hungry jaws. One ship is not enough.
Yeah, especially when that ship is the Galleon. You know, the Galleon, it's tanky, it can stay alive for a long time, but against double blenders, it's never going to have gun arc, so
yeah.
Queen of Crows they're just going to kind of twiddle their thumbs for a bit.
This is one of the reasons you don't see a Galleon very often. There's so many things that counter it, including this double blender combo. No permahull damage on either of these ships. The Galleon really needs arcs for a significant period of time to actually do damage to ships usually, especially when you're running the Hades. It takes a little while for the gunner to calibrate the distance, and so it can take anywhere from, 20 seconds to a minute for them to actually put damage down on a ship.
Yeah, especially, at the beginning of that engagement, we actually saw some of those Lumberjack shots, a lot of them missing. They did eventually manage to take down the Carrot Face Roll's balloon with the second clip, but like when you're running that long range kind of the Lumberjack balloon disabling Galleon build, you need to land those hits. You can't let them get into close range unabated. Like, gotta work on your gunning, I suppose.
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. Oh. Okay, Princess Tutu is controlling the ship with his mind. I have never seen this bug. I love it.
Oh, where they have their hands are not on the wheel.
They're just standing in front of the wheel.
I think, I forget what causes that. It's something like when you disconnect, or at least it used to be when you disconnect and rejoin. I think that's what would produce that bug, but they fixed it at one point. But Perhaps it's regressed in a recent build.
Maybe
Yeah,
Rhythm Rogue has his hands firmly on the wheel, though. He does not have telekinesis. Both teams playing a little bit more defensively right now. Mad Hatters are okay with running the clock down.
If you had telekinesis, do you think
Oh,
it
they're
would be
pausing.
easier to fly the ship with your hands or with your mind?
If I could pilot it with my mind, I could look around a lot easier.
But how hard would it be to coordinate? Like if you're not looking at the steering wheel, then I guess there are really a lot of questions to answer as to what the type of telekinesis. Like theoretically, couldn't you just move the ship with your mind rather than moving the steering wheel? Just move the entire ship.
If you were a powerful psychokinetic, maybe. Maybe. We're getting into pseudoscience here. We can make stuff up, man.
Let me tell you, friend, there's nothing pseudo about it.
Always
team
serious
actually-
all the time.
Red team's splitting off. Are we still in a pause? Because
No,
Carrot
no.
Face Roll's flying away.
Continue. They're back into gameplay, and they're still taking these defensive positions, which is interesting. Trading T are down 2, so the Mad Hatters can just kind of take their time, and this is another one of the big disadvantages of a Galleon. If you get behind, it's really hard to come back because the enemy just dances around.
But the red teams, they've completely split up here. It looks like they're maybe going for some type of insanely wide flank here, but I'm not sure if this is, even with that 2-point lead, I'm not sure this is the most sound of strategies.
Yeah, I wonder.
Like the Carrot Face Roll,
they-
they're continuing to advance.
It's not that dangerous for the Mad Hatters to split like this, because, well, I'd say it's actually good because it makes the two ships split their fire, so they can't just focus down. If they can't just face one direction and have both ships in arc, they have to split their fire. So it makes it more difficult for the sniping team. But also, both the Mobula and the Galleon are very slow, so they can't capitalize on when the Mad Hatters are very far apart. So this is fine. This is a safe play still.
But what they risk is if the blue team gets into a position that the Carrot, like behind terrain, behind a bridge or something, where the Carrot Face Roll is actually not able to charge and engage, if they don't have a clear line of sight, a clear flight path, that's one of the dangers with splitting up, is that you're not able to synchronize well enough to regroup quickly enough. That can be difficult when you're so far away.
Can be. Kara face roll coming around the side. Decorum turning guns into arc. They're going to take shots.
Oh, it looks like they're making their move.
Yep, Kara face roll throwing out Artemis. Only able to take out the Hades so far, and they're going to have to reload before they do anything more, but that Lumberjack is buffed. Only one lands, though. Kara face roll going to hold on to its balloon for now.
Yeah, Carrot Face Rolls, actually, they're backing off while the Queen of Crows continues to charge in. Looks like they're going to pop up behind. They're going to take out the Armor Freaking Geddon, try to knock out their balloon, take them out of this fight, and then let the Carrot Face Roll have free reign on the Decorum. Armor Freaking Geddon actually realizes this is happening and has decided to pull forward. He's going to land on... No. I was going to say he's going to land on his ally, but no.
There we go. Armor freaking Geddon dropping down. They have no control over themselves anymore. Decorum going to be able to get that Carronade going to the balloon of the Queen of Crows, but the Carrot Face Roll right now doing double duty. This is the most powerful position for a Pyramidion when they can have one gun going on one ship, their front guns going on another. They're going to follow the Decorum down. Watcha goes out, though. Queen of Crows going to keep all their components. That Watcha did not do very much. They try again. Don't get much. Carronade, however, is going to pop the balloon. They don't have Drogue Shoot or anything of the like, so they're going to keep dropping. Decorum also going to drop, however, and this engagement is dropping farther and farther down into the water. Armor freaking Geddon now bottoming out as the Queen of Crows stayed on. Now the Queen of Crows is bottomed out as well, though. They don't have Drogue Shoot, as I mentioned earlier, so they have to bring their balloon back up. They get it. Can the Decorum pop it? Nope. All hands on repair, but that's not going to be helping very much. The Decorum falls 4-0 in favor of the Mad Hatters. Queen of Crows down below, half permahull, carrot face roll with a nick on the nose.
Yeah, these competitive pilots really abusing the Mobula's inability to fight when its balloon is disabled. I mean, there was a moment in that engagement where the Armor Freaking Geddon was... They had the possibility. The Carrot Face Roll's armor had actually... It took a lot of Hades. The Hades didn't take it out, but it burned down. And if they had realized that, if it had someone stationed on the light flak of the Armor Freaking Geddon, they might have actually been able to get a kill on the Carrot Face Roll, and that would have led to a very different end to that engagement. But just... You know, they're preoccupied with the balloon. They were afraid they were going to crash into the water, and there wasn't somebody ready to knock off those explosive light flak rounds.
Well, the other problem was the flank. We saw it. We didn't really comment on it in the Praetorians versus Centurions game, but flanking a Mobula is absolutely horrible for that ship because when people were first criticizing the Mobula, one of the reasons you didn't see it in the competitive scene for a long time was because people were saying all its guns are front mounted, it has no sort of defense from any flanking, all you have to do is get behind it. Then they took sniping, they stayed far back, and pilots were able to essentially nullify that disadvantage. But now we see when you have two slow ships like this, you pair the Mobula up with the Galleon, then they can't defend one another well enough from a flank. Like the Decorum has built-in flank suppression, but like you saw, if the Blenderfish gets behind the Armor Friggin' Geddon, there's nothing it can do, and that Galleon was too busy dealing with the Carrot.
Yeah, a lot of times what you see with teams that decide to bring Galleons, you see kind of a watchdog as their partner, something like a Pyramidian, something like a Junker, even the Goldfish sometimes, but a ship that lets them screen targets if they get into close range, keep them off of the ally Galleon, because the Galleon is pretty defenseless at close range if they, if the enemy ship manages to get a good angle outside their gun arcs.
Well, the same goes for the Mobula. Usually you pair the Mobula up with a Blenderfish or a Gat Mortar Pyramidian, just something that can keep the enemy at a distance. Uh-oh, Queen of Crows bumped. Okay, they're okay. But now we see both ships as very vulnerable ships, and that's why the flanking is so effective. They have no counter. It's very difficult to counterplay this, and we see it again. Mad Hatters setting up for a flank. Look at this position that they've gotten into. The Armor Friggin' Geddon is desperately moving forward, trying to stymie this leaking position. But I don't know how much success they're going to meet with. Queen of Crows dashing for cover right now as the Hades and Banshee rein in.
Yeah, I mean, the other side of that is both these blue ships, they do have weaknesses, but they both have a lot of firepower. If they can get, good sustained sniper hits, they can maybe take out a ship very quickly, but they haven't had that coordination. They haven't had that really top tier gunning that's necessary to make that sort of team composition work. Because if you miss any of those shots and you don't kill the target and they get into close range, like you said, there's not a lot they can do about it. They're not that maneuverable. Yeah,
look at this. Both ships now, for either team, split. Carrot Face Roll facing off against the Decorum. Pretty much what the Carrot was made to counter. I mentioned it before. It was made to counter the Galleon, but it counters the Mobula pretty well, but right now it's in its element. However, the Armor Friggin' Geddon able to help against this ship, and now the Watcher comes out. Armor comes up just in time. But it drops again immediately. Echidna goes a little bit wide. Queen of Crows has got to do something fast. It's backing up behind cover. It may actually be able to get out of this, but that's going to leave the Queen of Crows all alone. And despite its really good positioning, I'm not sure it can deal with two ships, especially when the broadside of the Galleon is coming into arc. Armor Friggin' Geddon dropping. Queen of Crows needs to get this kill quick so they can get out. Armor Friggin' Geddon bottoms out early. And it falls. Mad Hatters picking up the victory, 5-0. It was looking a little bit worrisome in the last engagement, but they were able to pull out a 5-0 victory. Just barely.
Yeah, great prioritization, great awareness of the situation from the Queen of Crows, knowing that they, even though they were left on their own to deal with the full blue team, there was that moment, that opportunity for them to get the 5th and final kill, and if they got that, they would be totally fine.